Hi guys, and welcome to another Fool of the Week. This week's Fool is Talk TV host Julia Hartley-Brewer. Now, in this clip you're going to see she's making a pitch to Nigel Farage to be a part of his future cabinet and a specific role within that government. Have a listen to this.
I'll say this right now on camera, and I'll say this to Nigel Farage right now. I will leave this job and I will come and work in government to push this policy through, because I'm willing to take all the flack. I'm willing to take all the name calling. I don't care. I've had it for years, and I've been talking about this issue since about 2000. I've got a long track record on this. I am absolutely willing to go into government on a non-party political basis, go into government to help get that job done, because I think that job needs doing. I'll swear to you right now, I will happily do that. Happy to take on the civil service, happy to take on the House of Lords, happy to take on the human rights lawyers, happy to do that, because this is a job that we need doing. And if we want our country to stay the country that it almost still is for our children, for the future, I'm afraid this is what we're going to have to do. It's going to have to be, all hands on deck, and we're going to have to do it. And I think it involves everybody. Don't just talk the talk, walk the walk. There we are. That's my offer to you, Nigel. Anyway, 11:26 is at the time.
Okay, I'm a little bit confused because Julia Hartley-Brewer constantly complains about people being put into positions of power who have no skill set, or they don't have the sufficient skill set to do that job. She's complained about DEI, for example. Look at all these DEI hires. These people were not hired based on merit. They were hired out of for ideological reasons. But let's have a look at her skill set if she wants to be, an anti-immigration or immigration minister. So she's putting herself forward. I would be good in your government because of my presumed skill set. So what is her skill set? So according to Wikipedia, she studied for a diploma in journalism at Cardiff University School of Journalism. Then she worked for a newspaper in East London. Then she worked for the Evening Standard. Then she worked for The Guardian. Then The Express, the Sunday Express. Then she did a documentary. She was part of a documentary on politics for BBC 2 and BBC 4. Then she worked on LBC before being replaced by Sheila Fogarty. Then she moved to talk radio, I should say. Then she set up her own YouTube channel, and now she writes pieces for the Daily Telegraph, the Mail on Sunday, the Spectator, and other outlets. Okay, so she's worked in media, not public administration, which you would imagine would be a good idea if you're going to run, a government department. She hasn't a background in justice, as we've seen, which would be useful if you want to deal with human rights. Wouldn't it be useful to understand the law when it comes to human rights if you're talking about running a government department on immigration? Now, I'm not saying that government ministers have to be qualified, because generally they will surround themselves with experts. But she's putting herself forward because she thinks that, because I'm ideological, I would make a good government minister. But that is actually the opposite way. A pragmatic individual would be a better government minister than an ideologue, because an ideologue would say, we need to do X, and then the civil service would reply and say, we can't do X for a number of reasons. Then the government minister would say, I want to do Y, and then the human rights lawyers would say, you can't do Y because of X, Y, and Z. And then they would get frustrated, like the Conservatives, and start blaming the civil service and human rights lawyers and everyone else for their own failings. Instead of actually taking a step back and realizing, actually, we can't do these things. We have to be pragmatic. But this is why, remember when it came to Brexit, and she's of course a Brexiteer, they decided, let's not hire people who actually have skills in negotiations. Let's put in place, David Frost or David Davis. Wonderful individuals who have a long track record of negotiation, pragmatic, ideologues. David Davis was brought on. He lasted 5 minutes. He was replaced by David Frost, who was completely useless. And there was an actual qualified negotiator that the UK could have used, who had worked with the EU before, but because he wasn't an ideologue, he was rejected by the Brexiteers. So if you want to put somebody like Julia Hartley-Brewer into a position of power. You can do that, but it's not going to work. I think what Nigel Farage may attempt to do is copy his friend across the pond, Donald Trump. Donald Trump has put people into positions of power who are there because of loyalty, not because of merit. I've covered a few of them on this channel before. You know, the Commerce Secretary or the Business Secretary. Even the Defense Secretary used to be a guy on Fox News. And Donald Trump liked him. He said, I like that guy on Fox News. Let's make him Defense Secretary. Like, what? And I think Donald Trump's friend in Britain, Nigel Farage, will probably do something similar. He will put people in positions of power who have high profiles, not good CVs. And you're going to have chaos. And of course, these people will not take responsibility for their failures. It will always be somebody else's fault. A Nigel Farage administration would be like a Donald Trump administration. A cult of personality where you have sycophants talking about how great Nigel is succeeding, everything is going really well. The country could be going down the toilet, but the media would be, of course, getting their talking points from Reform HQ, and they will be constantly pumping out how everything is great until the dam breaks. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think, and I'll see you in the next video.